Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the Student Athlete Interview Initiative. I'm Katie Quinn once again, and I have Eli Kashi here. He graduated GW in 2017, so we had 1 year of school together back in the day. He now is a mechanical engineer for Kinetic River in San Francisco, which is where he is right now. And yeah, so want to give a little intro about yourself, Eli, and kind of tell the viewers why you decided to join us today.
Yeah, totally. So, hello everyone. My name is Eli. As Katie mentioned, I'm 2017 class from GW. I then went back for a 2-year master's program where I got my master's in mechanical engineering with the focus in robotics and automation. I played all 4 years on the GW baseball team. I was an infielder, but kind of utility. I really just played wherever we needed. And now I live out in San Francisco. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I am living life.
Yeah, nice. Living life
Yeah.
inside, like everyone
Inside, yeah.
else.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm still going into work, so I have not been doing work from home. I was like 3 weeks at the beginning of the pandemic, but then since then I've been going in every day.
So do you have to wear a mask the whole time?
Yeah, mask, and we try to be cognizant of like social distancing and all that. But a lot of what I do, I need to be in person and like actually working with my hands. So it's been an interesting experience.
Sure. So why don't we work backwards then? So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of what you're doing now, maybe how you got there, what you're doing
Mhm.
now, and kind of where is this industry going? What are you doing to
Yeah.
contribute to it? Let's talk about that.
Totally. So I'm a mechanical engineer. My specialty is hardware. So I work for a startup right now, a biotech startup that makes flow cytometers, which is, I had no idea what that was before I started, but basically it's an instrument that is used by doctors or scientists to study a population of cells. And what my company does is we make custom versions of these instruments. I am the only mechanical engineer that we employ, so I get to own all of the hardware for the project from end to end. So I get to like work on the design of the products, the engine, the manufacturing of it, and then the finished product. So that's been a really cool experience for me. I've been here for about 1.5 years. I mentioned I went back to grad school straight from my undergrad, and I got this
I
2-year master's.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
I
at GW. Yep, 2-time GW alum here. So,
Nice.
and then yeah, I had to actually. I usually have like my varsity letter sitting behind me, but I was like, this is too much GW. Like I gotta tone it down.
I have my cap and gown in the closet, so we can maybe later.
Totally. But yeah, so that's what I do, and yeah. Any questions? I'd love to help out.
Yeah. So is this is kind of specific to your job, but so it sounds like you're on kind of a smaller team. Do you
Hmm.
like that kind of that intimacy? I mean, obviously the baseball team, you're with these same guys every day, super close.
Hmm.
Do you think that's why you kind of went to this type of company where you're like, I know I'm going to be with these people. We're going to be kind of like sharing goals and ideas. So if you want to talk a little bit about that,
Yeah,
versus kind
totally.
of another style of, I'm not really sure with engineering, but like a larger firm where you wouldn't have as
Yeah.
much kind of automation on it.
Yeah, totally. So I can speak from like my field. When you're at the larger firms like Apple or Facebook or Google, they're going to have you work on like a really specific part of an overall product. Whereas what I like is the company I'm at, we're 4 people. And so I get to work on so many different projects and so many diverse projects at all times that I get like a wide breadth of experience. There's also negatives to that because that means that everything that we produce is my responsibility. So any mistake that's made is totally my fault. You know, like I don't have anyone else that I can kind of share the blame with. And I definitely think that my experiences as a student athlete have helped a lot in this because it's taught me so much about teamwork that a lot of people who I feel don't have that athletic experience, they don't understand the inner workings of a team and how to kind of be a good teammate, but also take care of your responsibilities.
Right. And even 4 people going from, I mean, you guys always had really big teams when we were at GW, like 30
Mhm.
plus people
Right.
going to
Yeah.
4, even that's a huge transition.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you find Kinetic River? So you're originally from New Jersey, as we were discussing
Hmm.
before the call.
Yeah.
So how did you know you wanted to go out west? You went to school on the East Coast. How did you find this company and kind of how did you start this interview process with them?
Totally. So I was actually born in San Francisco. I lived here till I was 9, and then I moved to New Jersey, where I went through high school, and then DC, obviously, for 6 years. So when I was applying for jobs, I had a few areas that I was targeting. I wasn't necessarily set on one area. So there was Texas, North Carolina, Colorado, and then California. And a lot of what I found to be the most successful way to get interviews is through networking. So it's, you always hear like, it's not what you know, it's who you know, which is so true. So I actually found this job through, it was like a friend of a friend of a friend who saw a posting on LinkedIn, and it wasn't even like a legitimate like job posting like Indeed or something like that. It was literally just like a post that the founder had made and said, we're looking for mechanical engineer with this skill set and this start date. And the timing just worked out perfectly. So I interviewed, I had a couple rounds of interviews. Actually, I graduated from grad school in May of 2019, and I like 2 weeks before graduation I didn't have a job, and then I found this company, interviewed, flew out to meet everyone, and then the week after graduation I had a job. So it was like such a quick turnaround. So
That's so
then
awesome.
yeah, it was a stressful time to say the least.
Yeah. And I
But
think everyone's living that right now, whether it's an
yeah.
internship or it's your third, whatever, third job, first job. I
Hmm.
think everyone's kind of feeling that. So definitely a lot of viewers who probably feel the same pain. But that's awesome that you landed it and now you're out
Hmm.
west killing it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so how did you kind of know that you always really wanted or needed slash wanted to go to grad school? Maybe why did you choose GW too? Obviously it's great. We all like it, but
Hmm.
just kind of
Totally.
talk us through how you were like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. So baseball, as a lot of those sports are, you don't get to do internships in the summer. You generally are playing and you're training or doing whatever. So I didn't have that internship experience. So coming out of my senior year of undergrad, I had one offer with a company that I really wasn't excited about. It was essentially like a glorified sales role, which nothing against sales, but I spent 4 years doing mechanical engineering, so that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I had that offer, and then one of the professors I had during my sophomore year, she approached me and said, "Hey, Eli, what are your plans next year? I have this open position that is going to be like a research assistant. So if you're interested in getting your PhD, then you can come back." And I didn't, I love GW, but I did not want to spend another like 5, 6 years at GW. So I kind of talked with her and figured out if I could just do a master's. And we came to an agreement that I did a master's with a thesis. So it's kind of like the best of all worlds. And it was just a situation that made the most sense. I mean, I was able to get my master's, but also do research, spend a summer interning. So then I got that in between summer, I did an internship at the Naval Research Lab in DC. And from there, it was able to set up a lot of the skills that I needed to move forward.
Yeah, that's awesome that you still were able to get kind of a professional development thing along the way as well
Mhm.
to at least have an internship that kids like us never really got to have.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. And I really like what you said, kind of how you kind of were passion driven. You weren't feeling the
Yeah,
pressure of, I need to have a job, I need to do this, I need to be
no.
with this company with this salary. Like you were like, I know that my end goal is to be working on this hardware and this type of
Hmm.
engineering. So I just think that's great that you were able to really see that through.
Yeah.
So something else that we can talk about now is kind of just how engineering is a little different than other industries and how the School of Engineering at GW is great, but maybe how you kind of used your personal student athlete skills to kind of advance your career forward. So if you want to talk a little bit about maybe the challenges you faced as an engineering
Mhm.
student, but kind of how you balanced it with being a student athlete and how you were able to have your successful position with Kinetic River.
Yeah, totally. So, I feel like athletics taught me a lot of soft skills, which I know is something that's brought up a lot in these talks, and it's kind of a common answer is like athletics taught me the soft skills. But I think that's especially important in engineering because a lot of engineers, like we're nerds, like we don't know how to talk to people a lot of times. So it's given me the strong soft skills. But on the flip side, that meant that a lot of like the more technical skills, because a lot of the interviews that I've done have been more technical based, and it forced me to grow in that area as opposed to what I feel like a lot of my peers are, which is growing in the soft skills area. So it's given me an advantage in some ways, and in other ways it's just forced me to work a little harder, which is something we're all used to as student athletes. And then it's been good because even when I get questions in interviews about what are like some challenges you faced or various kind of questions, a lot of times I can relate those to my athletic experiences, which is something that I feel like sets me apart than from other applicants.
True. And okay, give me like a small little glimpse of like what one of those technical interviews would be like, and keep it,
Yeah, yeah.
a little
So
dumbed down, but kind
yeah,
of,
like
yeah.
a question I had was to describe, like, it's like beam bending. So it'd be like you have two beams, they are the same, excuse me, one of the beams is aluminum, one of them is steel. They're both hit with the same force. Which beam is going to vibrate more? So then you have to kind of work through like the what each beams, there's like modulus of elasticity, and there's all these factors that define it. And then it's like, and it's a little frustrating in some ways, because a lot of this is stuff that I learned in undergrad and like got tested on, but it's not really something that, like, when I'm in the field, I'm not going to have someone come up to me like, here's two beams, I mean, maybe, but it's like, but it's tough because it's, how else are you going to test someone? So it's, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's funny, and I didn't understand most of it, but I'm glad, I'm
Totally,
glad you
totally.
shared.
Yeah.
No, that was helpful. And then just a little bit, I everything you said is so great so far, and I
Mhm.
hope this really helps all the engineering students. Because
Yeah.
I know some of my friends who are in Milken or in the other schools that just didn't either have time to teach us as much about professional development as
Hmm.
the business school, or just because that's just not really the content. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if we could just talk, I guess, kind of how you so taking a step back from that, how did you know I want to be an engineer? Obviously, you kind of told us why you wanted to go to grad school, but like root of the root of the story, like day
Yeah.
that you were like, this is meant for me.
Hmm. I have always loved taking things apart and putting them together. Like, every time I get anything, whether it's like a ballpoint pen or like, a piece of electronics, I always try to take it apart as much as I can and then put it back together. And I'm generally successful, not always, but generally
Yeah.
successful. And um, I was talking with my parents before going to school, and my dad was like, "I think you might like engineering. You should try it out." And I'd always heard it's easier to leave engineering than it is to get into it. So I figured I'll start there. If I don't like it, I can transfer out. And I remember freshman year, we had this intro to engineering class, and one of the projects was like to design. I don't know if you or the users are aware about CAD, but like
Hmm.
computer automated design, and to design like basically anything we wanted. And then the school 3D printed it for us. And I like designed this little car that I remember I got the 3D print and I was like, this is like the coolest thing ever. Like, I can't wait to do this more. So it was something that reassured where I was going. And since then, it's just been consistently what I want to do. I mean, I have like a 3D printer. You can't see it, but like off to the left, there's like a 3D printer running right now. Like, I'm definitely bought in on this field.
That's awesome. And I love that you had like a very defining moment that you were
Hmm.
like, yep, I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm really glad that we were able to kind of do this in reverse because we've usually gone the other way. So
Hmm.
it was really cool. I really liked it. But
Yeah.
why don't you kind of leave us some final words for the next Eli? What would you say
Hmm.
to yourself when you're 19? There's a
Yeah.
pandemic, but you're at school virtually, and you
Hmm.
have to get a job. What's your piece
My
of advice?
advice is, don't rush. Just enjoy where you're at in the moment, and where you'll be, because things happen for a reason. Like, I got rejected from jobs that I really wanted, and it was for a reason, because now, like, maybe the company folded, or it just wouldn't have been something that made me happy. So I just don't rush, enjoy where you're at, and keep working, but just be present. That's my main advice, is just be present in the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on today, and it was nice talking with you and catching
Yeah,
up.
and the last thing I'd like to add is, like, I know that there is a strong alumni network in the engineering school, but there's not a strong student athlete engineering alumni network that I have found. So if anyone watching this is an engineer and needs help or needs advice, I would love to be a resource for people to reach out to. So I would love to foster that network.
Awesome. Yes, find him on LinkedIn, everyone.
Yeah.
How he found me.
Elijah
Yeah.
Kashi. Oh, there we go.
Yes, and just another thank you to you. Eli actually reached out to me, which I thought was really, really awesome. Him and I are both, uh, pushing our little walkers. We're old now.
Not yet,
We're
not yet, not yet.
not yet, but
Yeah,
a little washed up, but not a lot. But
yeah.
it's just really awesome that we're still able to
Definitely.
give back to these guys because I know
Hmm.
we both have had such awesome mentors on our teams and in the
Yeah.
department. So I always am very thankful for that. So
Yeah,
thank you.
no
Bye.
problem.